What's up, everybody? This is Rico E. Anderson, and you are listening to the world-famous SyFy Sistas.
Welcome to the SyFy Sistas podcast, where we give you our point of view. I'm your host, Tamia Harper, and today I'm joined by my sister, Yvette Blackman-Tom.
Hello.
Hello, Yvette. I wish we had some other sisters with us, but they couldn't make it today. We miss y'all. Hey, Sabrina. Hey, Fran. Love to you.
What's up?
But we also have a special guest that fills my heart with joy, and it kind of makes up for two sisters not being here because, a little bit. Okay, did it. Don't get mad at me, Fran and Sabrina, but for real though, because if y'all saw this fine piece of man, you would be just fine too.
Yes.
He is, what do we say, Yvette? The brother that you've seen in everything.
Google it.
Google it. He is none other than actor extraordinaire, Mr. Rico E. Anderson. Welcome to the show, my dear.
Thank you so much. If a black man could blush, and if you could see me now. That was a sweet introduction. Thank you so much. It's such an honor to be here amongst y'all. Y'all just don't know.
So glad you finally got here, brother.
Yes.
I mean, we love you to pieces. I mean, and I know like Yvette has known you much longer than I have from her association with the Seventh Rule podcast. And that's actually where I got to meet you too, and I fell in love with you, and I feel like you're just such a sweet human being. Like your heart is just genuine, and it just comes through everything.
That's so sweet to hear. Thank you so much. Thank you,
and thank you. From the beginning, you've been a big supporter of us. Before we even started, I remember you just cheering us on, and I just appreciate that. It meant a lot to us, believe me.
Well, we hear all the time, and I'm a huge component of it. Representation matters, and you sisters definitely represent and represent with just all the wonderful things that just help to keep us relevant as African Americans, as Black people, as people of color.
Mm-hmm.
And I always appreciate that, and I'm glad I'm glad y'all in the mix.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I am blushing a little bit. Okay, so Rico, like we want to talk all things acting career. We want to talk about your history a little bit. We want to talk about the strike that's going on, but I want to go way back to the beginning. I want to go back to little blurred Rico.
Okay.
Because it is no secret that you are a huge sci-fi fan. And so can you talk to us? Were you a kid? Were you a kid blurred?
I was. I was a huge comic nerd, and anything that was on TV coming home from school. Remember those afternoon lines?
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And you would have a lot of your classics and I was just a huge fan of a lot of those, especially the ones that catered toward the sci-fi genre. Cartoons, a lot of animation, superheroes, a lot of things taking place in space, and just the different franchises that just really brought, just catered to my nerdism, along with comic books that I loved reading and collecting, and just really wanting to be a part of just having that fun in reading them and having my favorites and wanting to one day hopefully play in those worlds.
Mm.
And what was beautiful about it is one of the great things about being a nerd for all of us is the fact that we're basically doing the same things that we did when we were little boys and girls, but we grown ass men and women.
Yep.
So, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a part of our childhood that never went away. And I love the fact that for myself, it started at a very early age.
Yeah, I always said how I love the fact that us as, especially Gen X, we were like, listen, we all had to sit home by ourselves and watch all this TV.
That's right.
That's our safe space. We're bringing it right. We're keeping it with us.
Yep.
This is how we survive. And we, of course, made it great for everyone else, I think. So I totally get that.
Yeah, and it's wonderful now to have a lot of the people who are still with us be, for the most part, depending on who it is, pretty accessible in terms of being able to meet them at different cons, be able to, and in my case, I've been very blessed to work with a lot of them, and in many cases tell them how much what they did in the past when I was a little boy, how much that meant to me.
Yeah.
And to just let them know how much of an honor it is to actually share a call sheet with them, to share an IMDb credit with them, to be able to, you know what I'm saying, to be able to actually share some screen time, or just be in the mix with them while they're while they're still doing what they're doing, and and I love that. I love that this huge that part of fandom that it's the gift that keeps on giving in that respect.
I feel like you touched on something there that I think a lot of fans experience, which is like the desire to let people know who have impacted us so much, to really let people know how much it meant to them, it might have just been a job to those actors to begin with, but I think especially the actors who come on the convention circuit and who go to cons and talk to fans a lot. I hope that it gives them a sense of how important what you do is, you're really touching people, and this medium, this visual medium is, this is really how people are consuming ideas for the most part these days. It's not on the written page anymore, as much as it is. I mean, this is our great literature is happening visually, and so, the impact that the actors have on folks is real, it's real. And I love a chance to get to tell the people who have made a difference to me, like how important they're doing those roles are.
I think that's something that should never stop, no matter how many times they've heard it. And I believe the ones who truly appreciate how their career has still been thriving, I believe those are the ones who really take those to heart. I know I've spoken to various actors who I've told this to, and I've told them how much. And again, going back to representation, especially when it comes to Black actors in this business. But beyond that, it means a lot to know that you have done something that maybe back in the day was just a job. Right. Maybe back in the day, SyFy, you didn't look at SyFy like it was this amazing Q-like entity.
Right.
You know what I mean? That has the impact that it has, but you can't knock the power of what it does and how it affects people, and that has to be acknowledged, and that has to be respected, and it has to be, it just has to be put in a category all of its own that as actors we do things to affect people, and we make you laugh, we make you cry, we piss you off, we make you happy. It's just wonderful to hear it and to get those accolades, but really because of the fact that we know that we did the type of job that made you feel those things. Mm-hmm. So I would hope that as they do hear it, even though they've heard it for the millionth time, that there still is something to be taken from continuously hearing it. I remember talking to Stan Lee, and I had the opportunity to speak to him and tell him how much what he's done, how much that meant to me at a time growing up, coming from moving from Chicago to the San Francisco Bay Area, how much a lot of the world of comics played a huge part in helping me out when I was going through stuff at the time. And I could tell, even though he's heard it a million times, he was very attentive and made a point of being very just being very personable when it came to responding. It didn't seem like a textbook answer. And even after I got the picture with him and I was able to get him to say Excelsior, even after that, he was like, and thank you for saying what you said. It really means a lot. I always love hearing those things all the time, no matter how much. And that just, they just made my whole Comic-Con.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But when you get that, and similar things like that, it's just everything.
No, it is. It is. Yeah. So I want to go back because the acting bug hit you really early, right? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I was 6 when I knew I wanted to do this.
Wow, really?
6?
Yeah, I was 6. There was just something about the way that I watched TV and how it affected me. And I remember seeing a touring production of a musical, and it just basically caught my eye in a way where I was just like, man, I want to do that. I could do that. And I'm watching this musical, and I'm looking at the main actor, and I'm looking at the dancers, and just everybody, from the person who had all the lines to the person who had none of the lines, but dancing their asses off. I can curse, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
We're grown.
Dancing their asses off, but just the visuals and of course the costumes and just all the things and it was a musical, so there's always never a dull moment in a musical. And I just remember looking at it going, I just remember being so drawn to it and just really wanting to, basically saying I want to do that. Mm-hmm. And I remember watching TV and just putting myself in those characters, especially some of the kids that were around my age. Black, white, didn't matter. Just telling myself, I want to do that. I could do that. And then, of course, seeing some of the figures that I grew up with who were at the time role models and just very public figures who I was very attached to in terms of, wow, that person's cool because that person did this. That person's cool because that person played that. So, yeah, it started early. It started very, very early, and it never left me. I knew from age 6 that I wanted to do this.
That's so amazing. That's so amazing. So did your parents believe you when you were that young and you were trying to tell them hey, I want to do this thing?
First grade. Right?
Or were you trying to tell them that at that time?
Well, it was just my mom and myself. My father was in the picture, but I remember telling my mom, the bug really didn't kick in as far as me actually doing something until we moved to Berkeley, California, and I ended up doing this play called The Faculty Follies, which was it was really a musical, but it was a made-up musical by my musical teacher, George Felker III. And he created this musical called The Faculty Follies, which was basically a mix-up of all the old Busby Berkeley musicals of the 40s and the 50s.
Love it.
Yeah. And my mom used to be a tap dancer, and she actually choreographed the whole opening number. And so that was cool, and then I ended up playing. So they were going to do a Shirley Temple Bill Bojangles duet,
Mm-hmm.
and the person who originally played was going to play Mr. Bojang. I don't remember exactly what happened, but basically, long story short, he ended up not being able to do it. And my teacher, George Felker III, rest in peace, who is white, was like, "What are we going to do? I guess I could play it, but then that would be me in blackface, and I don't want to do that." And so it was literally one of those moments of me turning to him and going, "I can do it." And it was another moment where he kind of looks at me going, "Yes, you can." Next thing I know, I'm doing this Bojangles Shirley Temple moment with my third grade English teacher, because the faculty follows, it was basically all or a bunch of the teachers being drafted into doing the musical.
Okay. So cute.
Yeah, and that was the thing that really kicked it off. And after that, and just the applause and being on stage for the first time and the lights and just all the things. There was no fear. There was no, oh my God. There was no moment of deer in the headlights. It was literally, this is amazing. I knew when I was 6 I wasn't crazy. So so after that I just kept doing it. I did more musicals and it snowballed from there.
Oh man. Yeah. That's amazing. I love that. I love to hear about people who knew their calling, at a really young age, because I never knew a calling. I never, that is not an experience that I'm familiar with. I had, I might want to do this, or let me dabble over here and let me try this. And, but I never felt with conviction, this is the thing.
Yeah.
This is my thing.
Yeah. I mean, if you'd ask me, if there's something else I wanted to do, I would want to do besides that, I always lean toward, hey, I would love to be a doctor, or I would love to be a fireman. I always kind of felt like that as a kid, that's something that I would want to do also. But maybe in an alternate universe, that's what I'm doing. I don't know.
In your parallel timeline.
Yeah, maybe in some mirror universe. But yeah.
So I wanted to go back. Your mom was a tap dancer. Did she was she a professional tap dancer, or was that her hobby? How did that come about?
She wasn't professional. It was more of a kind of like how a lot of little girls learn ballet and stuff like that.
Okay.
Just tap dancing was kind of just something that she learned. My understanding is she did perform in some talent shows and things like that, but it was never taken beyond just the fact that she learned it, she knew it, she could do it.
Okay.
Your life was depending on it. She could bust a move.
She could bust a move. That was always my favorite. My aunt took me. I had tap dance lessons when I was a kid, and I was wondering if she continued, because all I remember is heel toe.
I remember shuffle, hop, stop.
Oh, yeah,
shuffle, hop, stop. That's all I remember.
I think that's the basic, right? I mean,
that's the basic. Yep.
Yeah. If you can do that, that's pretty much the framework of all things we know of tap.
I actually really enjoyed tap lessons until I got super intimidated by an adult in my life who scared the bejesus out of me when I was "What did you learn in tap dance class?" And I was and I froze. What do you mean? What did I learn? And I was trying to "That's all you learned?" I'm yeah, it was bad. And then and that was it for me in tap.
I don't blame you. Too much pressure.
I know.
There was a lot of pressure.
It's there's a lot of levels in tap. It's not like you jump on the stage and one lesson in your Sammy or no, come on, man.
Trying to be Sammy Davis Jr.
Yeah, it doesn't work that way. Nicholas Brothers did not start out.
There's no twinkling my nose and suddenly I know tap, but right.
Yeah. Now you a Nicholas brother. No, it doesn't work that way.
He went back.
Oh my God!
I mean, shout out to the Nicholas brothers, because
shout out.
I mean, seriously, if you see people who see that one scene and the fact that that was supposedly done in one take.
One take. That's what they tell us.
And them brothers were floating on clouds.
Yes, right.
I mean,
I always remember them gliding.
Yeah.
You know, that glide that they do. I was like, oh,
man. And then when they're going down those stairs and they land in the splits, come on.
Yep, right.
Come on, man. That woo.
That's tap dancing now.
That is tap dancing for that ass.
That's right. That's right.
I could watch that all the time.
All the time.
That on repeat, yeah.
Oh my God. I had a chance. I know we're kind of segueing away from, but
that's fine.
That's all right.
Okay. I had the opportunity to meet, not Gene Kelly, which I really wish I could have, but I met his wife. Oh. And, I met her at an event and, oh God, was it last year? I think it was last year. Anyway, I had the opportunity to just talk to her and we spoke a lot about Mr. Kelly and everything. And so I just had to ask her, I said, you know, the Nicholas brothers, unfortunately, didn't get the recognition that your husband did. And all due respect to him, he was brilliant.
He was.
I said, but was there ever any thought or you know, what were his thoughts on it? Or was there ever any conversation about, you know, his experience and with the Nicholas brothers? And she told me that that one of the conversations that they did have was the fact that he did feel like it was very unfair that they did not get that type of recognition like Gene did, like Fred Astaire did, like, you know, just basically the white tap dancers of the 50s, 60s. Right. But he always made a point of mentioning as much as he could in the interview and just putting those props out there as much as he could. So, you know, it was great talking to someone who actually had some sort of connection.
Yeah.
You know, those are always like questions I always wonder from people from back in the day. It's like, how was Hollywood being not as black as it should have been?
Right.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Not as person of color as it should have been simply because of racism. How was that? Was it just a normal, or was that an issue? Like, you know, we all heard of how Marilyn Monroe was very adamant about Ella Fitzgerald being treated better, and she said she wouldn't appear at the club if she didn't.
No, wait. No, some of us don't know that story. Back up.
Oh.
And you know, I don't know that story, and I'm sure that there's some of our listeners might not know. So, what is that story?
Okay, so apparently Marilyn Monroe and Ella Fitzgerald were friends,
right?
Very close friends
together.
Yeah, and back in the day, black folks either couldn't be in the club, couldn't attend the club, or if they were to perform in the club, they'd have to go in through the kitchen and leave through the kitchen, and or they just couldn't perform there at all. So apparently Marilyn Monroe was at a club, and either Ella Fitzgerald, y'all can Google it, but either Ella Fitzgerald wasn't allowed in the club, or to be in the club, she would have to go through the back and all that. And long story short, Marilyn said, listen, I don't like that. I don't like the fact that you're treating my friend this way simply because she's black. But I tell you what, you let her play and possibly walk through the front entrance. I think it had more to do with her playing. But she basically said, you let her play, give her a run. Give her a run, and I will be there in the front row every night.
I think that's what it was,
Yeah. Wow. So I don't know how long the run was, but apparently Marilyn, and you know, Marilyn was the biggest star in Hollywood.
Right.
All right. So the idea that she's saying, I will frequent your club, obviously meant dollar signs for all the people, you know, the people who owned it and all that. So that was basically, so shout out to Marilyn Monroe for that.
Well, yeah. That's an interesting story. I never knew that story about her.
Yeah. Yeah. Where Marilyn would have to step up and be like, hey.
Right.
That's what's up.
I mean, this is really interesting. I hear you like spouting all this, and like I saw in your bio that when you were in school that you majored in theater arts as well as Black studies, right?
I did, yes.
Which I think is so super cool, and not something that we hear from a lot of performers, that doing a dual major. Can you talk a little bit about why you wanted to do that and perhaps how that's affected your career choices, or has it had any effect there?
Sure. Well, I mean, I did a ton of theater at Berkeley High School, and the wonderful thing about our high school was our high school was right across the street from City Hall, Berkeley City Hall. And we were also, part of our high school was this humongous auditorium called the Berkeley Community Theater. And that would be a stopping point for a lot of artists who were on tour, like big artists, like Grateful Dead and whatnot. So, a lot of reggae bands, just a lot of rock bands and stuff. New Edition can't do, so it's just like all these bands. And the little theater that was also attached to the school was where we did all of our shows. So one of the biggest advantages we had was the fact that we had, at the time, state-of-the-art equipment, from the lights to the soundboards to everything. So cool. Yeah, and because we were across the street from City Hall, and because those two main buildings, or those two theaters, were not only a part of the school, but it was also part of City Hall, because City Hall used them both for different events and stuff like that. We had kind of the home field advantage when it came to being able to do stuff that many, if not most, high schools did in their cafeterias or their cafetoriums. And so we were able to do basically Broadway style productions, from the musicals to the plays and stuff like that. We did Shakespeare and all the older musicals from back in the day. Pajama Game, Three Penny Opera, Gypsy. Like, we did all those Broadway musicals. And so, coming out of Berkeley High School with all that behind me, I already knew again, 6 years old, I knew I wanted to continue it. And so I was like, well, college, here we go. What am I going to major in? Theater arts. And so this is the part where it kind of gets to where you were asking me earlier about support. My mom was always supportive. She never discouraged me, but she did throw, because I'm her child, she did throw at me, why don't you think about something that's a little bit more
stable?
What'd you say?
Stable
and more of a possibility that the chances are definitely a thing that will happen. So it was her way of saying, I see what you're doing, and I'm here for it. But why don't you continue doing it, but throw something else in the mix?
Yes,
right?
Yes. I've had that conversation with a child.
Yes. I was like, all right, Mama. So I ended up actually double majoring with theater arts and broadcasting.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then I ended up minoring in Black studies.
Okay.
So what was cool about that was broadcasting was still in the ballpark of me doing stuff on TV and stuff like that. It was different. So, and Black studies was something that I've just always been interested in, because of the fact that I wanted to know more about our people, and I wanted to know more about our history and the things that we hear and heard about, but the things we don't know about. So San Francisco State University was a wonderful institution for that. And to this day, I still keep in touch with a lot of my professors from school, and especially from the Black Studies department and stuff like that. One of them retired, but we're Facebook, so we're very much in touch. And I just, Black Studies was something that and I tell you, I learned a lot. I learned a lot of things that they don't teach you or has always been watered down. Because for the most part, Black Studies back in the day was Egypt, Africa, slavery.
Yep.
They threw a little emancipation in there. Dr. King.
Yep.
Pretty much ended after that. Maybe the Black Panthers. Today, of course, now we have, President Obama. We have other things. More Black folks, more actors, things like that. So, that was my thing. That was my thing. So, double major, chop that down to just eventually doing just majoring in theater arts. I ended up just kind of going back to it because I started to become more confident in the fact that, Mom, I really want to do this. And I ended up just keeping that as the main major and Black Studies as the minor.
I just love that, though. I mean, I feel like it gives those two together give a real different sense of purpose entering your field. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I would think that it would have formed me in a different way, that it might have had some bearing on how you approached roles or what roles you were trying to go for, or did it not? Am I just reaching?
I have, growing up, a lot of the people that I saw and wanted to emulate or be like, if I were a lot of Black actors, and I'll be honest with you, Roots was a huge inspiration. There for people who are of a certain age and knew about that era and knew how all of our parents kept us up past our bedtime to watch this monument.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? It's and all of our parents sat us down and be like, all right, look, normally you're supposed to go to bed at 9, but
we all watching this.
Something big is happening and you need to be a part of the history.
Yeah.
So, it all of that. So
that's cool.
Did I answer the question?
Oh yeah.
I was kind of all over the place there.
You did?
Oh yeah.
I didn't realize we had so much in common because I also my minor was also Black Studies in college. So, and Tamia always talks about I have my I'm blackity black. Right, maybe not so Black, but I do appreciate that. And I think that happened to me too with Black Studies. I just wanted to know more. I just fell into a class. I kind of took the class on a dare because this white teacher was teaching about Malcolm X. And I kind of went in there just to, show my ass kind of. And I'd be saying you don't know nothing about no Malcolm X. I know Malcolm X.
I know Malcolm X. So I went in there, and of course, that teacher taught me a lot because he actually knew Malcolm X and and just had so much passion for the subject that I just had to respect him, and he respected me because I did know a lot because my people are from Harlem. So, I know a lot of things because of the situation I was in, the location I was in. And it was good to learn from somebody else that I thought I wasn't going to respect and ended up respecting. So I also keep in touch with the Black Studies department at my school, which when you said it, I was like, is that a thing that we all do? But that was my safe space. So,
I think Facebook made it a thing because think about it. I'm sure with both of y'all, a lot of us reconnected with people that maybe at one point we have lost contact with because of life and all sorts of things. I tell you also, the at the time, being the 90s, there was a huge, I guess you can say, resurgence or just a huge perspective and on Black culture and there was a lot of blackness going on in the 90s.
There was. We were blackety black in the 90s.
We really
tried.
were.
We tried, but then I don't know what happened. We really tried.
I mean,
we kind of fell off there for a minute.
I know what happened, but I don't want to bring down the show. But
it'll be a different show. I know what happened.
Right. Was Rico on the show? I don't know.
I mean, we were dashiki'd up. We were,
black medallions.
We were cross colors. You know,
you did not just bring out the cross color.
I sure did, baby. I brought up the cross colors. Kangos. Yep.
Kango. Hey,
gazelles. Remember the gazelles?
The gazelle. Yep. And I remember, the Kango. Yeah. No, you all are. Man, I'm about to really hit y'all, and I think New York had it. I'm sure the East Coast had it. Of course it did, because it came from. I think Spike Lee kicked it off. So the biker shorts.
Oh yes!
Yeah,
oh my
definitely.
God! Everybody, because
everybody
we all wanted to be a fly girl on In Living Color, and dancing in those biker shorts.
Yes.
All the ladies wanted to be fly girl. Everybody had the biker shorts, the fanny packs.
Yep.
The Aquanet hairstyle,
Ooh, big hair, baby.
The asymmetricals with the big poof up front, with the bangs
and then
stand out.
and then just the movies and all the things that just tapped into Black culture in a way that we hadn't seen in a long time, or if anything has evolved since, say, like the 70s and even the 80s.
Different World came on when I was in college. So I went to college the same time they went to Hillman, you know.
That's right.
So,
there you go.
Every Thursday.
And they had a huge impact because they really did tap into the Black experience in terms of the story of the week. You had this college, this Black college that everybody could relate to, whether you went to a HBCU or not. Black historical Black college university, for people who don't know. You know, it's like these are the things that play deeply into us learning about ourselves, and the 90s played a huge part in that. And that was one of the most beautiful things about it. And so Black studies almost was like they couldn't. I think there was an overflow in the classes just because that was the era that everyone was like, I want to learn more. I want to learn more. Look at the music that was out.
Yeah.
You know, and so there was all these things that really, Tupac said it. You know, it's like Marvin Gaye used to sing with me. He used to tell me how Black was the thing to be. And that said a lot in terms of just the 90s as a whole. Black is the thing to be, and you can be proud about being a Black man, Black woman, and that's all right. That's all right, you know? So
that's right. I mean, I remember going to see KRS-One many times. Many times, and he would come up to Syracuse all the time.
Oh, that's right. I forgot you went to Syracuse.
Yeah, I sure did. You know, and I mean, 90s was Public Enemy time. You know, we were just EDMP. Oh my God.
Oof. Nah, Rakim.
Stop.
Rakim. Yeah.
Man. You know, you're right. I love how you just said it. Black was the thing to be, and we were so proud of it. I mean, that you're so right about that.
Yeah.
You know?
And it came right on time too, I believe. I believe it came right on time at a time when, whether it was planned or not, we needed that. We needed either that reminder, that additional education, and to, like Desiree said in her song, stand up and be counted.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to shine, I think she said. But stand up and be counted, because we are, as Black people, deserve to be counted where we're not in many cases, or we weren't, at least back in the day. So, and even today.
Yeah. I mean, I remember going to college and learning my first bits of Black history beyond slavery. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And literally having my whole world changed. And I was just like, how do I not know this?
Right.
You know, I just remember feeling that so much of the time. How did I not know this? How did nobody ever teach me? You know, and Yeah, back then I remember it was such a huge movement amongst all of us. I mean, we were so thirsty, so hungry for this knowledge, and decided that, I mean, our parents were like, okay, let's try to get this being taught in the schools, a little bit. We were like, well, nobody's going to teach us. Nobody's doing this. So we're just going to do it. We're just going to find it. I mean, I remember sitting up in the college dorm room many a night, talking to people about reading Franz Fanon, and, and also, just having my whole brain just exploding with knowledge,
Yeah.
And you're just never the same again. Once,
Never.
once you learn your history, people can never take that away from you. Once we find out who we are, I mean, and that was the great feat of most colonization, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is take away that
Take
past.
away who you are. Yep.
Take away who you are.
Yep.
Yeah.
Gee, sounds like stuff happening today.
Yeah, and who'd have thunk it, right? It's the same playbook, right?
It's the same playbook, and the audacity of it even being played is taking place, and it's happening. And just along with half, if not 3/4 of the shit today, you can't believe it's still going down.
Mm-hmm.
You can't believe it's still happening. But just like in the 90s, just like in the 70s, the 80s, all the eras, you fight for what's right, and you fight for what you deserve, and you fight for the things that are important. And like Public Enemy said, you got to fight the powers that be.
Got to.
Yeah.
Got to, because they're going to fight you.
Because they're going to
do it every day.
Yeah, they're going to fight you, or they're just not going to do anything until you say something or do something. And of course, then you're considered a troublemaker and all the other things. But hey, good trouble. Here we are.
That's
Good trouble. That's right.
If it comes down to it, good trouble.
Good trouble. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, okay, I want to switch gears a little bit, because I'm really intrigued about the African American Shakespeare Company, and you being a founding member of that. Since we're talking about when was that founded? Was that a 90s or a 2000s thing?
So African American Shakespeare Company was founded in the 90s. Shout out to Sherry Young, who I remember she was a good friend of mine from San Francisco State. And we did theater together, and we were kind of part of our own little black theater group of actors who were in the trenches going to audition for different plays and stuff like that. And I remember one day she was like, "Hey, Rico, let's go grab some coffee. I want to talk to you about something." And so she sat me down and she was like, "I have this idea for a theater company, and I want to do something that's a little bit different than some of the other black theater companies that were out there." And she basically said, "I want to call it the African American Shakespeare Company. And the theme is infusing the classics with color." And so it's going to be some Shakespeare, but it's also going to be other plays as well. And she wants to basically put together something that is going to be lickety black, blackety black, and showcasing black actors in the San Francisco Bay Area. There's only at the time, maybe 2 black theater companies at the time. And with respect to them, of course, it's always great to have more.
Right.
And so she created it, and she talked to me about it. And so I was one of the people who helped get it off the ground. And we did it. To this day, it's one of the biggest theater companies in the San Francisco Bay Area.
Wow.
And Sherry's still running it. And we've had a lot of people come through, and as far as actors are concerned, as far as directors and people who are very prominent in the Bay Area. I think Ted Lange is about to direct something soon there.
Oh, cool.
Wow.
Yeah,
Isaac.
Isaac. With the finger guns. Yeah, Isaac. Yeah. Finger guns and a smile.
That's it.
That's right.
Yeah.
That $1 million smile.
Shout out to Ted Lange. So So it was a wonderful, wonderful thing to be a part of. And 30? I don't know how long long ass time later, here we are. Over 20 years later.
Over 20 years, yeah.
Yeah.
Over 25, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it's still to this day one of the prominent theater companies in the San Francisco Bay Area. So
That's cool.
African American Shakespeare Company, and still going strong. Every year Cinderella is done for Christmas, and
Really?
yeah, and all you see are, and the majority of the company is Black as far as like the actors, but they'll do things. I mean, anybody can audition, of course, but it is there to showcase and to provide a home for Black actors, especially the youth.
Yeah.
And
Definitely have to check that out when I go west.
Oh yeah, when you do, tell Sherry Rico sent you.
I definitely will.
Sherry Rico sent you. She gonna be like, oh, that guy. No,
Hey, I was looking up, like when I was reading about it, it just sounds so amazing. And I'd love on the first page on the mission statement
That's what I'm looking at.
I'm going to read it because I want our listeners to know this and to hear this, because I think it's so dope. I was skipping down like to the beliefs. It goes through the history and then the values, and it has 5 core beliefs. It says, we believe the arts can change perceptions. That's number 1. Number 2, we believe that knowledge of the classics has great potential to empower communities of color. Right? These are all such strong statements, like each one in and of themselves. Number 3, we believe the classics should and need to be accessible to historically excluded audiences. 4, we believe the African American community has been alienated from discovering time-favored classics. And 5, we believe there exists a disparity in arts opportunities and experiences available to people of color, especially youth, and companies such as ours are critical in reducing and eliminating that disparity. I said, what?
No.
Bunch of mic drops there, right?
Yeah,
Right?
that's wonderful. That is wonderful. I love that.
Bunch of mic drops.
I love that because I know for a fact that that's something that works for youth. But all my children went to Montessori school when they were younger, and the Montessori school we sent them to, all the kids did Shakespeare, and they had to learn to speak. It wasn't watered down. They had to learn those lines. I mean, it wasn't the full play, but they needed to learn the lines. And they did Romeo and Juliet. They did. Did they do King Lear? I think they did, and they did.
Any Midsummer or
no? It won't come to me right now. But they did them, and it just exposed them to the classics, exposed them to something that they probably wouldn't see anyplace else. But then they know it as young people, and then they have something to build on. They're looking for other things. So, and they're in that conversation. I think that was what me and their father were more interested in. They're in that conversation when people that don't look like them are having conversations.
That's right.
About the classics. They can be in that conversation and know what the hell they're talking about. And I think that gave them confidence.
No, I agree that outside exposure is everything, and it just opens up your mind. I mean, I go back to when I was a little boy and I saw that musical. I mean, it triggered something, and I never looked back, and I there was something there in my head that said, that's you, and had I not seen that, who knows? But yeah, you're being exposed to something that you may not be surrounded by, and it says so much when it comes to the rest that the world can offer, and potentially your place in it.
Yeah,
right.
Your children's place in it, or anybody's place in it, and
definitely.
And yeah, it's sad that sometimes some neighborhoods don't offer that, or it's even discouraged when you hear things like, "Hey, I want to do this." Man, why do you want to do something like that? Come on, man, that's stupid.
Yep.
Stuff like that, and it's a lot of people get discouraged when they hear things like that, and that could be anywhere. That could be in any neighborhood.
It can. Yeah.
Surrounding.
Yeah.
So.
Definitely will close you down.
Yeah, I think, of course, like one of the advantages kids today have is the fact that they have so much more access than we did growing up.
Oh, definitely.
Right. And the internet being good and bad, if you're looking for the right stuff in the right spots, the information is bam, right there. Right.
They don't have to go look through the encyclopedia.
No, they don't have to go.
Right. And heaven help you if it's outdated. But
right, exactly.
They were all outdated.
Yeah, if you were lucky enough to have a set of an encyclopedia set, otherwise your ass was in the library.
Well, you only had one. You weren't updated.
You weren't. No, we were not getting updated. I'm just saying, if your family was lucky enough to have that one.
Oh, we did. Believe me, but it wasn't being updated.
No, no.
I don't know if y'all remember this, and I don't know if this is the East Coast yet, but there was the poor man's encyclopedia, and I can't remember what it was called, but they advertised the hell out of it, and they were just like, "Hey, encyclopedia too expensive? We got you." So check this out, and it was basically a cheap version of the encyclopedia, and I forgot what it was called, but it was a real deal, and a lot of people.
I remember that, yeah.
It was.
It was like abbreviated or something, like abridged. It wasn't like a full set. It wasn't a full volume, right? It wasn't a full 26.
I don't think it was a full 26, but like if you needed to know what how many species of hummingbirds there were in the world, you can find out there.
Okay. Right.
If you needed to learn about the history of the salmon, you could go there and look it up. You know what I mean?
I think I vaguely remember the commercials. You know, like when you were saying that was tugging on a memory.
I don't remember this.
Now, we still couldn't afford it, but I remember it. I remember it did help to get more of that into households. Like, I think a couple of my friends were like, "Yeah, we just got it." And I was like,
I just remember trudging to the library all the time to do reports.
Yep.
Definitely.
Book reports and all
That's
that.
it.
Because they're like, the what? Why would I go to the library? I know, right?
Today,
Do decimal.
they just don't know.
Kids today. Why I oughta.
That little drawer. Remember that little drawer? Looking in there for your
the index cards.
Index
cards.
Oh,
yeah.
Yep.
The card catalog.
That's what it is. Card catalog. That's right. Wow.
And you had to look for something else. Look at something else to get to the card, to look at the right part of the card catalog.
Right? Oh yeah. You didn't have to do research back then. You was out.
Yep.
But I used to love being in the library, though.
Oh, me too.
Yeah.
That was my spot.
Mm-hmm.
That was my hiding spot where I could be me.
Well, the cool thing about the library for me is like there were certain magazines that if I wanted to see them and if I couldn't afford them, they were always there.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of just a lot of the kid magazines and stuff like that were always readily available. So there was that. So definitely.
I love talking to you. It's like a walk down memory lane.
We going back too.
Oh yeah,
I know, right?
But yeah, good times. Good times when they work.
Yeah,
I'm talking about your tough skins now. So,
oh no!
Do you guys remember those?
Oh yeah,
tough skins.
Tough
the
skins.
jeans.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. They were like up there with the Jordache.
No, the tough skins were like tough skins were exactly what they sound like. Tough. They were the
there was didn't they come from Sears or something like that?
Yeah.
Okay.
My brother was so bad on those clothes that his tough skins had patches.
Damn.
Yeah.
Mm.
You had to work to get patches on tough skins, man.
He had them on my mother had to put them tough skin patches on his knees.
What? You know what? I had a brother like that. He could not keep his knees intact. My mom kept the patches in business.
Until you said tough skins, I totally forgot about patches. But man,
yeah, I forgot about
them remember them iron-on patches?
Yep. Yeah, my brother went through some patches.
Yeah.
And we would try to, I remember my mom thought she was being slick one day, and she was like, all right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the pants inside out. I'm going to put the patch on the inside, and then I'm going to put the patches on the outside.
Oh,
God. We are about to preemptive strike this. So, because we already know in about a month or so, your ass is going to start, getting holes. And then talking about people come back crying, and here we are. So what we did, actually, I take that back. She never put the patches on the outside until it happened. But she did make a point of doing the patch on the inside. No, you know what? Sometimes she did do the patches on the outside too. But I know she doubled up on the patches. She wasn't trying to throw money at.
Because Mama was smart. That's why.
That's right.
Yeah, Mama. Yeah, my mom. You have little concoctions and little things that you know how to do. Like even in the winter, I stayed warm, stuff like that. So yeah. I miss that about Chicago. I got to tell you, I miss
the winter.
Yeah, I miss the four seasons. I miss the snow. I always wonder, would I have been an actor had I not left Chicago? And then I see a lot of friends of mine from Chicago who were heavily involved in the theater scene out there, the Goodman Theater, and a lot of some of the other theaters. And I feel like in another universe, I still would have been in the game.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to know that the acting scene as a whole is still very prominent out there, and has developed some amazing, actors and playwrights and just, cool humans.
Yeah. I don't know. I find, you said you miss seasons. I find myself missing seasons too, because the Mid-Atlantic is not really getting our 4 defined seasons anymore. We're not getting, DC hasn't had appreciable snow in 3-4 years. We haven't had more than an inch of snow.
You can come up here. I'll give you some snow.
It's it's literally snowing every place. You can go right over the DC line and it'll be snowing. And this is my one conspiracy theory that I absolutely adore. And that's that we have a magic weather machine, weather bubble over the city, over the nation's capital, because it never, it will snow. I swear to God, it'll be Maryland on one side of the street and DC on the other. And on the DC side, there's no snow. And it's like a line in the sky. And it's snowing in Maryland on the other side of the street.
Yeah, Winter Wonderland on the other side.
We're like, hey, they're going to be able to go sledding, and we're not. Man, come on.
All that means is they got a shovel. That's all that means.
But I mean, I never thought that I was going to miss winter either, because I lived in Syracuse and I lived in Colorado, both extremely snowy places. And I hated every second of that type of extreme winter. And I was like, I don't care if I ever see snow again. And I lied. Now I miss it. I miss it.
Call you next time it snows here.
Okay, I'll be up.
Rain in LA is my snow. People look at me side eye. I get straight Michelle Obama side eye when people be when I be telling people, I love the rain. Woo! People be like, man,
what's wrong with you? It don't get too much rain out there.
Not the Michelle level side eye, though.
Michelle Obama. If you Google Michelle Obama side, she gave the best side eye.
You know what? That's going to be the name of the show, the Google It show. Just Google it.
Google it, yeah.
Just Google it.
Strike edition.
That is going to be the name of the show.
Google it. Yeah.
Google it.
Google it.
Provide all the clues. All you got to do is go to that search bar.
That's it. That's right. And speaking of the strike.
Yep.
Yeah.
What's going on, brother?
Well,
I mean, I could tell. I'm sorry, really quick. I know that folks who are listening can tell that we're in strike mode because we're very consciously not saying some things. You
mean all the things?
All the things. So, folks, if you're listening out there and it feels awkward to you, it's not you. It's we are not saying, because the SyFy Sistas are in full support of both the WGA and the SAG-AFTRA strikes. Yes, so there you go.
Definitely.
And it is much appreciated, speaking on behalf of both, because there is a lot that a lot of people don't know, and what people, one of the things that is important is to understand why this is happening, and at the level that it's happening, and what's at stake, and part of it is because we're on strike, the town is literally shut down. I mean, with a couple of exceptions, the things that we enjoy in terms of what's on TV is not being filmed.
Mm-hmm.
It's not being shot. It's not being recorded. And as a result, because of the strike, we're told that we can't even speak on it.
Mm-hmm.
We can't post on social media about it. We can't put anything that will give publicity to it that will basically give the AMPTP money.
Mm-hmm.
And the AMPTP, for people who don't know, is, and I might be messing this up, so Google it, is the Association of Motion Picture and bad striker. I should know this.
Is it television production?
Yeah, it's producers basically.
Mm-hmm.
It's the guild that most of the studios are attached to.
Okay.
It's the society
Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers.
Okay, all right. I was almost there. So the Alliance of Motion Pictures and Television Producers, and they're the ones who are basically the bad guys, and they're the ones who aren't really playing nice. And it's not just a matter of we want this. No, it's we are asking for fair wages. We are asking for things that are not coming from a place of we're making millions of dollars, we want millions more. That's 1% of the people in this town who are in the entertainment industry. Those are the Tom Cruises, the Meryl Streeps, the Denzels, the you name them. Those A-listers, those. And a lot of the series regulars who are like the major stars and stuff like that. That's those percentages. What we're fighting for is the majority of what this town is really all about, which is the background players, the co-stars, aka the people who have like under 5 lines, the guest stars, the people who have like all the lines of the episode, or like they're the guest star of that episode, the series regulars. These are the things that we're fighting for. We're fighting for those actors. For the writers, we're fighting for their rights in terms of the type of writers' rooms that are out there. And for all of us being compensated for the work that we're doing, and not having us, like in terms of the writers, do rewrites and not getting paid for it. Like that. Fair wage increase, plus any inflation that comes from the cost of living going up. Streaming residuals, just like when reruns happen of your favorite show on a TV network, once you've seen it, great. But once they rerun it, we're supposed to get paid for that too. So that's another one. Well, when it comes to streaming, those regulations aren't in place like they are with like network, because when streaming became a huge thing, that's when things got a little choppy, and the negotiations weren't happening, they were happening, but they weren't we were not being paid fairly in terms of this new medium that's happening. Healthcare, basic healthcare, which should be everyone's right to have. You have to make over $25,000 a year in order to qualify for it. Well, that's going to be hard when the majority of what a lot of working actors make are a lot of us survive off of our residuals. Well, if we're getting shitty residuals because we're not being paid what we're supposed to be paid, then that doesn't go into that. Those small amounts go into what we're making for the year. And a big percentage of actors don't get health care because they can't make the required amount. Because again, some of us are getting 1 cent residual checks, 30-cent residual checks, $3 residual checks for a show that's been played all over the place. You know what I mean? How is that right? And then there's AI, the whole AI situation.
That was scary.
Yeah, it's like that is literally a game changer in terms of us losing our jobs as actors. Because I'm sure for anyone who's been following what's been happening, one of the biggest what the fucks is the fact that they're proposing we will pay background actors a day's work and we will scan them. And from that scan, we're just going to scan their body. We're going to be able to, you need to agree to, we can use your image whenever we want to and never pay you.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. That was some of those ridiculous shiggity I've heard in a long time.
Yeah. What? Huh? I know people who literally their career is background work.
Right. So do I.
Yeah. I started off in background. I started out doing background when I lived up in the Bay. That was one of my introductions to being on a Hollywood set, because I was like, I know I still want to do this. So until I move to LA, I want to do what I can while I'm up in the Bay Area. So of course I was doing theater, and then I was doing a lot of independent film, but I was like, I want to be on a Hollywood set. And if I'm not auditioning or not going to get the parts that I auditioned for, I want to still be there because I want to know how this whole thing is. I want to be amongst the place that I want to be like my second home at a point in time. So I did a lot of background work. I know people when I did the show that I've been on for 3 years, which just got canceled, but with Octavia Spencer, I ran into this one dude who I've known for like almost 15 years, and he's still doing background work. I met him 15 years back when we were doing a project together. He's still doing it. And back in the day, he was telling me how much he's making a living off of it. So it's not, people look at background work and they don't see it as a reputable or an honorable profession, but it really is.
Yeah. I mean, where would all these scenes be without background work? Really.
And there's a lot to be said for. I mean, you got to and what they're proposing, because they have the technology to do it. It's
slave labor. It's slave labor, and it's like it's making money off of people's efforts without wanting to pay them. And that's not acceptable under any circumstances, And I think that most people who are listening, we'd be damned if somebody's going to take my picture and use it whatever damn way. I mean, people already talk about these stock photo pictures that people would take from like, you don't know that your picture is being used and you're not and it's being used to sell something.
Yeah.
It's being used to make other people money.
Yeah. And
you're not getting a cut. Yeah. That's insanity.
And they say, trust us. And it's just like,
hell no. We know better. We already know this game.
Yeah. We don't trust that you're going to do the right thing because you already have a history of not necessarily doing the right thing.
But how can you be doing the right thing if you say that? I mean, what?
Right.
What scares me is that that's something that's happening that can happen to all of us as workers,
right?
Yes.
I mean, this is what you guys are asking for is the same thing every other worker is asking for: a decent wage for a day's labor.
I looked like on Twitter today. I saw like Denise Crosby put out a tweet today.
Her residual check.
Yeah, her residual check from her show that she is on, 21 cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah.
For all. And how many hours are people on set? I mean, it's just like the whole, it's ridiculous. 21 cents. Who's working for 21 cents?
Who's working for 21 cents? In
America. Slaves.
Ooh, yeah.
American workers.
And they don't even get it. But that's the thing, because it's just like here's one of the problems. A lot of this has been normalized. Mm-hmm. And when I say normalized, I mean a lot of what we're saying this is bullshit about is stuff that we've been dealing with for the longest time, for years, right. In some cases decades. We've all, as actors, gotten that 5-cent residual check. Mm-hmm. Ha 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 ha. And then what we do is ha ha ha. Hey everybody, look at my 5-cent residual check. First round's on me. We're all saying that, and we all get the joke because we've all been there and we've all gotten it. But the reality of it is also the fact that it's wrong and it's fucked up and it's not cool. And it's like, meanwhile, these CEOs of these studios are making just incredible, ridiculous amounts of money. And the studios themselves are making incredible, ridiculous amounts of money. And it's just like, how is that fair that we are making the residuals that we're making, and basically the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer? But here's the other problem. Where are the systems that are in place that are supposed to track how much a person decides to watch an episode of something on one of the streamers?
Exactly. There's no like Nielsen ratings for streamers, right?
Not really. I mean, but whatever there is, why isn't it being
utilized?
Why are they being used?
Right.
And why aren't we getting paid what we're supposed to get paid?
Because you clearly have data on all the downloads and watches that people. I mean, the data exists.
You should be able to watch an episode of your favorite sci-fi show 100 times, and I should be able, if I'm on it, I should be able to get my residual check should reflect that.
Yeah.
And by it not reflecting it, it's saying that there's definitely a problem. Well, again, going back to the fact that everyone's like, ha, first round's on me, 5-cent residual check. It became an issue where it basically became too much. Mm-hmm. And with these new negotiations that have been brought forth on the table, and the audacity that a lot of them had in terms of rejecting a lot of very simple and fair things that we're putting out there, it's just like, now y'all just being the ultimate asshole by saying no to things, to basic things that we're just not even being unreasonable about. And for someone like Bob Iger to say that we're being unreasonable and we're turning down historic deals, it's like you guys are turning down a lot of stuff that we're throwing out there, and it's just effed up. It's just effed up on so many levels. And this is why we strike. This is why you have the people out there. I was out there today, and it's always it's like double, of what it was with the writer's strike. I mean, your boy's sitting up here like crispy right now. Just I was out there for a long time, and I've been out there for a lot. But I tell you, it's great to see everybody. Here's the thing: nobody wants to be there.
Oh no.
Uh-uh.
None of us want to be there. You may see pictures, and I'm saying this to the general audience. People may see pictures of us grinning and smiling. We got pictures with, such and such. This person popped up on the strike line. We got a picture. Everybody's smiling. Trust me. Believe this and take this to the bank. It is not reflecting how we're all feeling and the reason why we are all there. We would all rather be on set,
definitely,
or auditioning, or just basically doing the things that we want to do to ensure that our careers continue. We do not want to be there. It is not a party. It is not a gathering of we all kicking it. It's not an industry event.
Right.
I think that's important to say.
And I said this in one of my posts. Don't let the smiles fool you. We do not want to be there. We are fed up. And I was talking to Kristen Ritter today, who plays a superhero on one of the networks, one of the streaming services. And
Google it.
Google it.
Google it, and I had done a comedy with her years back, so it was great to see her again and say hey and stuff like that. Man, she looked at me and she was like, "This is some fucked up shit."
I can see y'all like this some bullshit.
Oh shit!
Can't believe it.
We had Bob Odenkirk out there from one of the other shows.
Google it.
Google it. Bob Odenkirk. Yeah. And just, you had a lot of, it's great when the high powered celebrities are out there, because it of course does send a very powerful statement. No one's out there for a photo op. Ain't nobody out there looking cute.
Right.
Ain't nobody out there looking cute.
No, everybody's out there looking like a regular old human being that just happens to have a job as an actor.
Right, in line with everybody else. I mean, everybody is in line, and we're marching and we're striking and we're being loud about it, and we're being look, we actors, no disrespect to the writers, but now y'all done messed up, because now you got actors. We're loud, we're obnoxious, we're already dramatic.
Right.
We will make a scene. We look for a reason to make a scene.
Yeah, true that.
Now y'all done gave us a bunch of reasons.
That's right.
Now we ain't got no jobs. We ain't got no reason, no way to get the jobs, because the auditions are down. We can't speak about it. I can't even be a guest at cons anymore. So going to, I can't do it. Yeah, we can go to cons as celebrity guests, but we can't bring our own stuff.
Yeah,
we can't.
You can't bring your own photos, right?
Yeah, you can't. We can't provide the photos that you pick out and pay for the autographs.
Right.
You can bring stuff. I think people know that you can bring stuff and then they can sign it, but that doesn't work for everybody.
Right.
You have someone like Armin Shimmerman. Well, we all know who he is.
Right.
Okay. And you can bring his character, or you know what I mean, or a poster, or whatever, a Funko Pop. Pay for it, he'll sign it. But not everybody's career works that way. Who are guests at cons. The way my situation works at cons is, me, you know who I am, but you don't know who I am like you know who Armin Shimmerman is.
Right.
So it's different. So for me, you got to come to my table, and then you see all the stuff, and you'd be like, holy shit, that was you, man.
Right.
Right. And next thing you know, because I got a full spread. I'm making so
that's right. Because we've seen that brother in everything.
Right. I'm that guy who was in that thing.
Yeah.
But I may not have that type of well-knownness as an Armin Shimmerman, or as anybody from certain sci-fi franchises. So and that's the same for a lot of us. I'm invited for a con in Bakersfield. I don't know if I can do it because of this. So it's there's a lot at stake, and it sucks that I'm not able to do that, but I look at the bigger picture, and I know for a fact that it's because of the bigger the outcome that literally needs to be, in this case, our way or the highway, and right now we're on the highway.
Yeah, well, this is like two things. Like, first of all, earlier today, well, no, let me start with the other one. You're right. This is like where you guys have to draw the line in the sand, because this is the future of every other actor coming after you all. This will literally determine the future of this profession. It's huge. It's monumental. Yeah. It's a big deal. it will set the precedent forever. So, that's why so many of the fans are in such complete support of you guys, and you don't hear anybody, because, we all want what's right for you and what's right for sustainability of the things that we love,
And, again, it's so appreciated. And, it pisses me off when I hear, and, I read a lot of the comments, and a lot of times I respond to the comments. It pisses me off sometimes when I hear people say things like, well, the writing usually sucks on these projects anyway, so, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, well, first of all, that's your opinion. Second of all, even if you don't like something, even if you feel like it's lazy writing, even if you feel like it's not for you, it's not the show that it should be in your eyes. At the end of the day, these are people who, A, have lives, and this is their livelihood. This is their job. Just because you don't like it, or a small conglomerate of people don't like it, doesn't mean that that person still does not deserve to get paid. Right. Nobody for the most part is sitting around trying to figure out how they can destroy a franchise.
Right.
You know what I'm saying about this.
Yeah.
Nobody is sitting around deciding, I'll just throw something on a piece of paper. They'll love it no matter what.
Right.
This is people's art. And whether you like something or not, I feel like that art always should be respected, because at the end of the day, this is somebody's idea and thought. And even if you don't like it, it still needs to be respected. And when you say things like, oh, well, the writing sucks anyway, I'm not surprised, that's being super disrespectful. And it has nothing to do with what's going on. Yeah. AI could literally wipe out background work as we know it. And in many cases can cut even the principal actor's work in half. That's not fair. Yeah. That's not fair. AI could literally kill a writer's job. That's not fair. A human being puts the heart and the soul and the life experience into what they write.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You don't get that from a computer. You don't get that from an artificial thing that has not lived a certain life growing up, or had a certain adventure that is the mind-blowing movie that is sweeping all of Hollywood, or making you feel like, look at the franchise that we all know and love. How many times have we gone up to certain actors, or many people have gone up to certain actors going, oh my God, this franchise has saved my life, or your character has done something that I could really gravitate towards. How many times has Kate Mulgrew been approached to be told how much of a role model she is for young women everywhere? Yep. That type of thing. You're not going to get that. And that's, of course, because of what she brings to the table, but also in many cases, also what's written.
That's right.
Most
exactly.
of the time,
Exactly.
Yeah.
You're not going to get this from that. Yeah, you're not going to get this from. You're not going to get that type of heart and soul as an AI computer writing something. You're definitely not going to get that type of heart and soul from an AI computer acting it out, even if it's a matter of just taking little things and tweaking this, that, and the other. Things have gone too far in all of this. Adding AI to it is literally just pushing the knife in further, twisting it, and laughing in our faces.
Total disrespect.
Yeah, absolutely. And just because you can do a thing does not mean you should do a thing.
Exactly.
But I just want to share, like earlier today, I was watching our favorite franchise for all of us, and the particular episode I just happened to turn on was about a strike. It's about the workers striking, and I was like, "How perfect is that?"
Yeah. It's which is great, and that even goes back to the other point of that's experience. That's speaking to a human condition.
Yes.
We're on strike that particular franchise episode, they were on strike because of unfair working conditions. If we're talking about the same. Yep. Okay, and how the person who basically owned the place was like, and it was just like, man, screw you, man, we out here, and
Right.
there you go. That's speaking to a human condition. That's speaking to a situation that's going on. Everybody in some way, bless you. Everybody in some way, shape, or form can relate to it. So. It needs to. Here's the reality is AI is going to be here to stay. There's nothing that one can do in terms of getting rid of it, but regulation needs to be in
place. Exactly. There needs to be some checks and balances. There need to be very clearly stated protections.
And people should not be replaced. A whole conglomerate of a whole section of acting should not be a replacement. Background players should not be replaced because of that.
Right.
That's not cool. It's just all levels are wrong. And it's just adding to the greed.
It is.
Oh yeah.
That's all it is.
It's so blatant.
Yeah.
And it's disrespectful, and just the audacity to say, hey, we're going to do this, and we're literally going to tell you that you can never work and do this again.
Right.
Really? And the other something about it, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Your livelihood just done.
Right. And the other messed up thing about it is it's already happening. Because I've heard some people saying, yeah, they had us doing that like a couple of months ago. And it's like, it's already happening. And who's to say they can't go to like non-union people? Non-union don't even give a damn. And they just, they're looking at the buyout. They're looking at, and that's the other thing for non-union people who think this is an opportunity. You cross this line, you virtually cross this picket line. You cross this picket line in any way, shape, and or form, you will never join the union.
Wow.
SAG has made that 100% clear, and I 100% support that. And no, son.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah. There's too much at stake. Hollywood is changing. There's nothing that can be done about the fact that Hollywood is changing. But the way it changes can be controlled, and it does not have to. Yeah, it without us, there is no Hollywood. And
like you said, the city shut down.
We shut this bitch down.
Yeah, and it's I mean that's got to be surreal. Right now.
And the other thing that people need to understand is it's not only Hollywood that gets affected. Surrounding businesses.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
All those supporting business. Like, you work I live in a place like DC, like I was talking about this, like Hollywood is your industry out there. Politics is our industry over here, and you have all these supporting, everything is built around it to support that industry. Right. So like when Congress is not in session, half of the city is gone.
Right.
Half of the city is not here, a lot of people, but the people who make their livelihoods on the people who work for that, they all suffer. Restaurants suffer.
Yeah.
Every type of support service industry that you can think of suffers when your main industry is not working and when people are unemployed.
And I always say this, along with that, people need to learn how to show respect because, hey, when the pandemic was in full swing and the world shut down, the one thing that helped to keep people's sanity were the arts.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Absolutely.
And our particular favorite franchise was there. So
it was very, very prominent.
You're right. All of the arts. We had musicians stepping up. We had actors stepping up, comedians, writers, poets.
Yeah.
The arts kept us sane.
Yeah.
The arts kept us saying amongst the insanity.
It sure did.
And people need to remember that. And people need to, like we were saying, remember that what's happening is there is definitely a trickle-down effect.
Oh, yeah.
Surrounding businesses and just your favorite this. I mean, a lot is going to. I mean, it's gonna. It depending on how long it goes, it's going to get to the point where it's probably going to go to our governor, and eventually it's going to go to the president, because this is a big deal.
Yeah.
That I personally don't know how long this is going to go. I feel like it's going to be a long hot summer.
I hope so.
Some people I talk to feel like it's not going to be that long. But with them even not wanting to go to the table till the summer is over, there's no negotiating going on now, as you know. No, there's nothing. There's nothing. Wow. We walked, and they're basically sitting on their yachts.
Yeah, they think they're going to starve you guys out. That's their power play that they're going to do. You know, I mean, and that's just how these people think, because they're not going to go hungry.
I'm sure
so they don't give a shit.
Well, that's the thing, and I'm sure you saw that thing or you've heard of it, where they basically, some executive supposedly said, "We'll just, basically wait until they start losing their apartments and their homes."
Yeah, I mean that's exactly their play, and they know that, and it's so inhumane.
That's evil.
Mm-hmm.
That is evil.
Mm-hmm.
That is evil. Yeah. I mean, it's no surprise that somebody said it, but to actually hear, have it be technically confirmed and made public, it's just like, damn.
Yeah.
And we're not even asking for a huge percentage. We're asking for the basic percentage to meet today's rising costs, today's inflation, and to meet it as inflation happens.
Right.
Which is a natural occurrence in the world. And to just do the right thing in terms of how this business has always been in terms of paying us. It's just gone too far, and it's just become way too big of a thing. And I'm glad that, in this case, it's better late than never, because I personally feel like this is something that should have been dealt with a long time ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I'm glad that everybody is in agreement that, this 2-cent residual check ain't funny no more.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad they figured that out.
Yeah.
When I was like, that's not funny.
Right. Exactly. Well, like I said, SyFy Sistas, like, we are in full support, and, we're trying to do our little part to help support. And I don't know if you know this, have an answer for this or not, or do you know other ways that people who are not in this industry, in your industry, can help support the strike?
I've always heard that just continue to update yourself on the latest in terms of what's happening. Obviously, with what you're doing by showing the solidarity in terms of not mentioning certain franchises and projects and things like that. Some people have even mentioned there are funds that one can donate to, like strike funds and stuff like that. But you got to be careful with that too. You got to make sure, just like when a disaster hits, you just don't want to donate to any old thing that somebody says, "Hey, I'm going to take this money over to the Red Cross or whatever." You got to know. So, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I would assume that if people went on to the WGA website or the SAG-AFTRA website, that they would probably have instructions there for how to help if you're looking to do monetary donations. Because I know that a lot of people, it's going to get to the point. It's already gotten to the point. I mean, we know Black actors and writers are adversely affected, way more than other folks already.
Yes.
And I'm just saying, like, calling on the mothership and, all the SyFy Sistas listeners, we should help them too. Be cognizant of that and see what we can do to try to help them, because they already broke. LA is already like one of the most expensive places in the world to live, especially when you're not getting paid. I realized that I was making more money at Costco than most of the writers that we were talking to were making on big, huge shows, and that's insane. That's insane.
It is.
So, yeah, we're definitely going to pitch in and do help and continue to implore our listeners and our family to help you guys, because we got to give back to the people who have given us so much, and the future ones coming up, who are there, who have sacrificed, and also who are willing to carry our stories. I keep trying to put this into a larger perspective for people that, we have to invest in the things that are important, which is not the way that this particular society that we're in right now is geared, right? But our storytellers are of the same importance as our teachers and our medical professionals and our first responders. The story moves our souls. This is how we grow as human beings. This is how we relate to the world and to the universe. And it's a fundamental part of living and existence, so I just can't express my support for you guys enough.
It's great.
Well said. Thank you.
Yeah, it's good for mental health. I mean, you need to, like you said, we live in this world that is so sometimes very evil. You need that space where you can come listen to a story, or maybe see yourself on TV, or, it's more than just, I don't know. Just like you were trying to say, it's something that you need. It's just like being a teacher, just like being a doctor. It helps the human soul. And I think that we need to understand that we, especially us, we were talking about how we brought, those things we loved as a child, we brought them back with us as adults. And this is what we brought as adults. So we need to try to help these people who help us. Mm-hmm. I think that's what you were trying to say also. So yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Listen, I've heard people say this too, and I'm all for it too. Hey, we all got lives, and nobody's asking anyone to do this. But if you feel so inclined, come help walk the picket line, because one of the things is the strength in numbers, showing that with the people out there, it's making the statement.
Yes.
The statement. I mean, when the writers were on strike before the actor strike happened, we were still making the statement. Tons of actors were out there supporting, because some of my best friends are writers. I know a ton of writers. You can't be an actor in this town and not know writers.
Right.
And I'm friends with many of them, and writers are some of the ones who are like literally on the bottom of the totem pole when it comes to things.
And which is crazy, because without the writers, there would be no damn stories to tell. So hello.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I always say also, just to people who do show ignorance and don't know in general, educate them. If you know, let them know what the real deal is. When you hear things like, the writing sucks nowadays anyway, pump the brakes on that.
Right.
And just let them know, it's actually a lot more than that, and explain why. And, what we make is going to be different from what somebody else makes, but this is the lifestyle that we chose. And this is the cost of living that we chose, and all of that. So this is what we chose. So this is what we make. We can't help that. That's not what you make. And I don't mean to say that in an insensitive way, but if this is what we make, and trust me, the majority of actors in this town are not making millions of dollars per picture.
No, they're not.
We're barely making thousands of dollars per picture, if it even comes to that. So just educate yourselves. Yeah. I think that's one of the biggest things I could say, because with, knowledge is power, and you know more, and you'll even come off smarter by making a better informed decision, as opposed to embarrassing yourself by saying something stupid.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's like, why you are literally embarrassing yourself when you say stupid stuff like that, because you are showing a major point of ignorance that you could literally Google and get information.
Exactly.
Come on.
Google it, y'all. Google it.
Google it. If you know, you know. If you know, you know. And if you know half the stuff that we've been talking about without saying it, you know.
Right. You know, exactly. Yeah. And our folks are hip. Our folks are hip.
Oh, yeah. Some people choose to be ignorant. Some people choose to continue the education. You never stop.
I'm gonna give them two more. I'm gonna give them another thing to Google. I want y'all younger listeners to Google an Etch-a-Sketch, and I want you to Google a big wheel.
Yeah.
Your life will change, and you will be so damn jealous that you have neither one.
Wait, can I add another topping to that?
Okay.
Google the Green Machine.
Oh.
Y'all remember the Green Machine?
Yeah, we had that. We had the Green Machine. I don't remember
the Green. What was the Green Machine?
That was
Green Machine had the levers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It like everybody had the big wheel, but if you got a Green Machine, they
yes. Yeah.
They advertised that as kind of like the
you could get
the limo of
yeah.
Like, so y'all like big wheels, huh? Hold on, we got something for you.
Got something for you. The Green Machine. Kill yourself in that thing.
That's right. I do remember the Green Machine.
Green Machine.
Right. No helmets.
None.
No helmets. No,
not a helmet to be seen.
Helmet.
A helmet, a seatbelt.
Right. I was like riding. I remember somebody tried to the first time somebody tried to put a helmet on me to ride a bike. I was like, excuse me? Why am I wearing a helmet? I did not understand this concept at all.
Yeah. Helmet. You thirsty? Go find a hose.
Go find a hose. Exactly.
Find a hose. Let the water run for 2 seconds. All right.
Yeah,
that's right. Let it run.
It's not brown. You let it run first. Okay,
right. Make sure there ain't no spiders up in there.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my God. See, that's why I love you.
I was there.
So are we.
Oh yeah. We know.
I love it.
But I just want to say one more thing on this. A lot of the fans, especially from this franchise that we all know and love, have been very supportive and have shown that support in many different ways. And I just want to say to those who have reached out and, just express that, hey, we're there for you, keep up the good fight. Thank you. And thank you for just being there and just understanding, or at least trying to understand and just have an open mind over everything that's going on and just being there for and understanding even at the cons, it might be a little different this year.
Yeah.
So please, thank you for your patience. Thank you for your understanding. And just thank you for just being the cool fans that you are. And I'm right there with you. I'm a fan. Shoot. It's just like I don't want this to be happening. I don't want to be out there walking the line. I don't want to do it. Nobody wants to do it. So thank you and good night. No, but it does really mean
I'll say thank you on behalf of the fans for that.
Oh, yeah.
That, we got y'all's back all the time, always. Blackity black, 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 black.
Blackity black with the fist up in the air and everything.
Blackity
and thank you, SyFy Sistas, for just again all that you all do. Just being just the coolest in the bunch, and just representing, man. It just means everything. It means everything to so many, especially us.
I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, Rico.
I'm blushing again.
Big hugs when we all get into this thing.
Yes, that's it.
Yvette, do your thing, baby.
You can find us at SyFySistas.com. That's SYFYS. God damn it.
Hey,
Dang.
That's good.
That was really good. I was been good for like 4 shows. What's going on?
We're leaving all of that in too.
All right. You can find us at SyFySistas.com. That's SYFYSistas.com. Join us on the mothership. That's MUTHASHIP. And the SyFy Sistas Book Club, both on Facebook. On Instagram, TikTok, and Threads, SyFy.Sistas. And we are also on the Twitter at SyFy Sistas. Become a patron of SyFy Sistas today at patreon.com/SyFy Sistas. The Trek Geeks Network's presenting sponsor is Fansets. Go to fansets.com for pins and memorabilia from all your favorite franchises. Visit fansets.com and use Trek Geeks, all caps, for your exclusive 10% discount. After listening to this podcast, please rate us and write a review. We may just read it on an upcoming episode.
And of course, I'd be remiss if we did not shout out the baddest engineer in any and all universes. He is Dose the Anonymous One. He's responsible for the music on this show and our production skills. So if you need him, hit him up on Instagram. He's Dose_the_Anonymous_1. That's it. We love you guys. Thanks, Rico. Thank you for listening, everybody. Peace, love, and hair grease.
Thanks, y'all.